The moment nobody saw coming. Have you ever wondered if somewhere in the world a decision about your life was made without you knowing? This story doesn't start with spotlights nor with big announcements. It starts in the silence. The moment you decided to do what felt right, even when no one was looking. It was just another ordinary day, or at least it seemed like it. The sky didn't change color. No extraordinary signs crossed the horizon. And yet, something happened in that instant. Someone was watching and decided that you deserved much better than where you are now. You may even think that no one sees what you do in silence. But what if I told you that precisely to be was silence, the scream that passed through invisible walls? A whisper that reached the ears of someone with enough power to transform your entire trajectory. An unknown, with resources, influence, intention. This is not a fantasy. It is not an illusion of grandeur. It's a revelation that will unfold before your eyes. A movement is underway, and you are at the center of it. Be part of our spiritual family. Subscribe to the channel today and comment "I believe" below as a symbol that you accept your role in this great transition. Let your energy be counted among the chosen. The time is now. The decision was made without you knowing. As you fought through the routine, maintaining your integrity even on difficult days, someone noticed you. Maybe not in person. Maybe you don't even know this person's name yet, but it exists. She watched from afar something in you that most ignore, the invisible strength of those who act with purpose, even when there is no audience. According to research by the Institute for Future Studies, more than 72% of philanthropic millionaires, they act anonymously in causes and invest silently in undiscovered talents. These people are not after fame. They are after essence. And that's exactly what you've been carrying this whole time. Now, what seemed like just another phase in his life begins to transform because this person, this silent observer, decided to do something more. He decided to intervene. A question that transforms everything. But wait. Here is the most important question from this introduction. What if what you thought was small was exactly what set you apart from thousands? You know that time when you chose to help someone, even without receiving anything in return? That conversation you had with someone who was about to give up on life? That day when you held back your own pain just to offer a smile to someone who needed it? You didn't realize you were being watched, but it was. And now you need to understand something. It wasn't a chance. It was a test. A filter, and you passed. What comes next is no coincidence. The curious thing is that, contrary to what many think, the moments that change everything rarely come with a warning. They happen while we wash the dishes, as we cross any street, as we choose right over easy. That moment has come for you, and as unbelievable as it may seem, you need to know someone is getting ready to move you, literally. Not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Because you have been identified as someone who carries a rare value, one that money cannot buy, but that those who have enough money immediately recognize. Powerful people know how to identify authenticity, and when they meet someone like you, something inside them lights up. You were not chosen by luck. Make no mistake, it's not luck. It's no coincidence. It's not because you showed up more than others. In fact, you appeared less. You didn't ask, you didn't beg, you didn't project yourself. And that's exactly what made you shine. The world is full of voices screaming for attention, but there is a powerful elegance in the silence of those who trust in what is. And it was this silence that echoed loudest. You remained faithful when no one applauded. You built a base while everyone else raced to the top. And now the structure is ready to support something much bigger. Something is open up right now. There are spiritual windows that open only at specific times. They don't last forever. They don't wait for you to be ready. They arise when your inner frequency is compatible with the transformation that the universe has prepared. That window is now open, and the person who saw you, the rich stranger you don't yet know, is being guided to act. He may not even fully understand why, but he feels that it needs help you. What he must position you where you truly belong. And here's the truth. You never belonged where you are now. You were just being prepared. Your journey is just beginning. It's time to regain your strength and build a new path. Subscribe to the channel and be part of this community that is awakening to the truth. When the universe tests you in silence. Not every test starts with a visible challenge. In fact, the most important ones almost never seem like proof. They arrive under the guise of ordinary situations, such as a casual conversation, a denied opportunity, or a choice between giving in to ego or acting from the heart. And maybe you're right at that point in the journey, where the universe isn't silent, but rather testing what you've learned so far. But what exactly is being evaluated? You were programmed for a greater purpose. For centuries, cultures around the world have talked about spiritual callings. In ancient Greece, oracles said that each person carried a daimon, a type of internal spirit responsible for guiding their most authentic decisions. The ancient Egyptians believed that each being had a ka, the energy that linked the human to the divine. In the 21st century, despite all the technological advances, many people still report the feeling of being guided by something that goes beyond logic. According to data from the Pew Research Center published in 2022, 64% of adults in the United States say they believe there is a greater purpose in their lives, even if they can't name it. You can be one of them. Maybe you never found the right words to explain how you feel, but your heart always knew you are not here just to survive. There is a real reason why you went through everything you did, and that reason is about to be revealed. Each challenge hid an invisible test. What you call a problem may have actually been an assessment. That friendship that ended suddenly, a test of detachment, the job that didn't work out, an alignment check. That moment when you had to choose between reacting angrily or acting wisely, a silent examination of your emotional mastery. The oldest spiritual traditions agree on one thing: elevation only happens after the ordeal. In Christianity, for example, before beginning his ministry, Jesus spent 40 days in the desert. In Buddhism, Siddhartha Gautama faced temptation and suffering before achieving enlightenment. These accounts are not symbolic by chance. They teach us that no high destiny is delivered without first refinement. And you, have you ever stopped to think how many times you have been refined without realizing it? The story has layers that nobody has seen. There are chapters in your life that seem erased, forgotten even by you. Years where you just toughed it out. Moments when there seemed to be no way out. But what if I told you that none of this was a waste? That every pain, every fall, every silence was recorded. By whom? By the universe itself. Quantum physics, especially entanglement theory, suggests that all particles in the universe are connected. This means that seemingly isolated actions have impacts that go beyond what the eye can see. What you do in the dark, when no one is watching, doesn't disappear. It just moves invisibly until it returns with force. That's what's happening now. You are not reaping luck. You are harvesting seeds that you planted in silence. The universe does not forget integrity. In an era where everyone seeks applause, her quiet authenticity stood out like a beacon. And even though you felt ignored, something bigger was paying attention. In 2023, A series of studies conducted by MIT neuroscientists revealed that the human brain responds with more emotional intensity when recognizing spontaneous gestures of kindness than in situations of financial reward. In other words, disinterested attitudes have a profound impact, even when they don't seem grand. And it was precisely this energy that you emitted. You stepped over pride. He continued to be honest. He chose to help. And now, the universe responds with precision. Reward comes when you least expect it. But here's the most important detail. The answer never arrives in the time we expect, but always in the time we need. If you feel like your life has been on pause, maybe it wasn't pause, but preparation. A break to mature the strength you didn't even know you had. And now, the cycle is turning, the season is changing, and with it comes something new. Yes, there is someone watching. Yes, there is an invisible movement being prepared. But more than that, there is a call being activated. And this calling is not for everyone. It is for those who have resisted the collapse of character, who chose their soul even when the world offered shortcuts. End of part 2. A choice is still yours. You didn't get here by accident, and even though everything around it seems the same, the inside is already different. The next step doesn't require perfection, it requires readiness. Now that the universe has recognized your energy, the question is, will you retreat out of fear or step forward in faith? It's time to regain your strength and build a new path. If this video is making sense to you, don't stop here. Click sign up now and discover the next step towards your transformation. The silence that hid you was your protection. Some people seem to go through life on stage, in the spotlight. They are always at the center, visible, celebrated. But if you're here, chances are your story has gone the opposite way. Instead of exposure, you faced erasure. Instead of immediate recognition, he experienced anonymity. And perhaps you have asked yourself more than once, why can't anyone see me? Why, despite everything I do I seem invisible? The answer may seem surprising, but it is liberating. You were hidden by superior choice, not by rejection. The choice not to be seen ahead of time. In ancient Kabbalistic writings, there is an idea called Tzimtzum, which describes the retraction of divine light so that the physical world could exist. This retraction was not an absence, it was intention. Likewise, his hiding over the years did not amount to contempt. It was strategy, it was taken care of. You were being protected from environments that could not withstand your intensity, of connections that would deform your mission, of platforms that would accelerate a shine that was still being shaped. This type of spiritual concealment is common among those who carry sensitive purposes. In the African Yoruba tradition, for example, there is talk about the reguardo do accès, a time in which one's strength is guarded until it is mature enough to manifest itself without being corrupted. And you, without even knowing it, were protected. The years of preparation that nobody saw, while others grew before the eyes of the world, you were refined in silence. He learned to deal with losses, betrayals, frustrations, and long waits. All this without any applause, no recognition. But each of these experiences was like internal training, an invisible strengthening cycle. Research in emotional neuroscience indicates that individuals subjected to long periods of challenge and silent overcoming develop a 40% greater resilience than those who receive constant recognition. This explains why you didn't break, even in the worst moments. His growth was not visible, but it was real. And now, the time of concealment is running out. When the light finally finds you, the moment when everything changes is usually subtle. It does not come with trumpets or large signs. It can start with an unexpected call, a message sent at the right time, or the look of someone who sees in you what others have ignored for years. This is the time of revelation. The Bible speaks of David, forgotten in the field, tending sheep, while his brothers presented themselves as possible kings. But it was precisely he, what no one thought of, who was anointed. The pattern repeats itself through the centuries. The forgotten are remembered at the right time and elevated before everyone. You are living the same principle. The influential stranger approaching you now is not a coincidence. It is the response to a cycle that began a long time ago. This person is not just seeing you, it's recognizing what you've always carried, but few realized. The world needed you to stay hidden. It seems unfair, but it's not. If you had been revealed too early, you would have blended in. It would have been confused with the common one. It would have been shaped by the wrong hands. The truth is that people with unique gifts face unique challenges. His language was not understood before because his message was for a specific time, and that time is now. You were not rejected. It has been preserved. And this preservation freed you from mistaken alliances, from dangerous compliments, and from environments where you would have lost your way. The time to appear is calculated by above. There is a spiritual principle present in several doctrines. When the student is ready, the master appears. But it is also true that when the light-bearer is ready, the world begins to see him with new eyes. The time of invisibility comes to an end when the interior is aligned with the mission. And the reason the strange benefactor, this powerful unknown figure, is approaching now is because what you carry has finally found a channel that can amplify it. This individual was positioned on your path at the right time because your energy has finally left the incubation phase. The fruit has ripened. Revelation is a frequency change. When we talk about revelation, it's not just about someone noticing you, it's about you taking a stand. To truly occupy the space that previously seemed too cramped, now that your light is stronger, your vibration attracts attention, and not just ordinary attention, but the right kind of attention. People, resources, and connections are being drawn to you because the world is finally able to welcome you. The end of the hideout is the beginning of the mission. You have been saved. But now it is being released. The curtain on your life is opening, not for a performance, but for a purpose. And the question that remains is, what will you do now that the world can finally see you? Share this knowledge with the world. Together, we can spread this message and help more people become free. Subscribe to the channel and send this video to anyone who needs to hear this truth. When being yourself becomes your greatest wealth, we live in an age of appearances. Perfect profiles, rehearsed smiles, achievements displayed like trophies. But quietly, a change is underway. A new value is being recognized, and it cannot be bought, manufactured, or taught in a nutshell. It only exists when someone has the courage to remain whole in a world that tries to mold everyone the same way. We are talking about authenticity. The invisible wealth that attracts powerful people, unexpected opportunities, and profound transformations. You are here now because you decided not to sell out, because you chose to stick to your truth when it would have been easier to adapt. Because instead of following the crowd, he followed his conscience, and that's exactly what caught my attention. The silent power of being who you are. Being authentic is not about being different out of vanity. It's about live according to your principles, even when no one is watching. And that kind of integrity is rarer than it seems. According to a global survey conducted by the Edelman Trust Barometer in 2023, more than 68% of people say they do not fully trust either their leaders or their social networks because they believe that much of what they see is performance, not truth. In contrast, when someone shows up and acts sincerely, without masks, the impact is immediate. This presence generates security, respect, connection. And that's what you've been carrying without even knowing it. Character is a seed that flowers at the right time. There are people who shine on stage but fade behind the scenes. And there are those, like you, who plant with truth, even when no one sees. These seeds took time, but now they are blooming. It may have felt like your choices were getting you nowhere, that his kindness was being wasted, that his honesty was invisible. But here's the revelation. Someone noticed all this, and we're not talking about just anyone. The approaching figure, this influential, discreet presence with resources and vision, is looking for something rare, real people. And that's why you got noticed, because among many who live in appearance, you continue to exist in truth. What you didn't do says as much as what you did. You didn't try to impress, didn't force connections. He didn't build a false image to be accepted. And that choice, which often left you feeling alone, is exactly what separated you from the crowd. If we stop to observe, the great meetings in history almost always happened due to affinity of essence, not due to status. Steve Jobs didn't choose brilliant people just for their resumes. He looked for original minds. Mother Teresa did not form teams for titles, but for compassion. Even in science, transformative discoveries have emerged from collaborations based on true passion rather than fame. This happens because those who operate at high levels of consciousness immediately recognize those who vibrate at the same frequency. And that's what's happening to you now. Authenticity generates natural attraction. You may not have sought recognition, but now it is coming. And it comes from someone who is not impressed by appearances, but by substance. This person isn't looking at your followers, your work history, or your appearance. She is looking at your energy. You are feeling your moral strength. He is recognizing in you a soul that resisted the rush, the disguise, and the noise. And the most surprising, you didn't need to prove anything. Your coherent existence has already spoken for you. The truth never goes unnoted. To those who are awakened for a long time, your authenticity may have felt like a burden. You were the only one who said no when everyone else said yes. The only one who chose to wait instead of running. The only one who didn't lie to please. But now that is no longer a burden. It became light. In Japanese tradition, there is a concept called seijitsu, which means honest sincerity. It's not just about being true, it's about being whole. Not fragmented, not adapted, not edited. That's what you've been, and this is now being seen. You don't need to do more. It needs to keep going. There are no magic formulas. There are no better strategies than simply continuing to be faithful to what pulses inside you. The person who is about to support you, invest in you, or relocate you to a new reality is doing this not for visible merit, but for internal coherence. She realized what you stand for. What's more, she understands that you're not trying to be great. It is already, even if it has not yet been placed in the place where this can be amplified. Who you are speaks louder than what you have. You didn't build an image, you built an invisible legacy. And now he is starting to be recognized. Keep being who you are, even if the whole world insists on changing you, because your essence is exactly what connects you to the destiny that awaits you. To not miss any message from God, click the subscribe button. Write "I'm ready" in the comments and start aligning your energy with the transformation that is coming. Change is ongoing. Are you ready enough to move up? There are moments in life that seem ordinary, until suddenly everything starts to move. Doors open, previously blocked paths become accessible, and what seemed distant begins to approach with unexpected speed. If you've been feeling like something is realigning, even if you still can't explain exactly what, the truth is that you are on the threshold of a new level of existence. But there is one detail that needs to be said urgently. Elevation does not happen to those who just want it. It manifests itself to those who are prepared. The waiting cycle ends when the interior aligns. Many people imagine that destiny knocks on the door by chance, but the universe is not random. It responds to vibrational maturity, not desperation for change. This means that you only access the next stage when your internal state becomes compatible with the frequency of this new cycle. In other words, transformation starts from within. According to recent studies by Harvard School of Mind-Body Medicine 2022, individuals who invest in emotional balance and conscious practices have 32% more likely to make assertive decisions in moments of life transition. In other words, preparing yourself emotionally and spiritually is not just symbolic, it is functional. And now, more than ever, this preparation is what will define whether you will sustain what you are about to receive. You are entering new terrain. The next phase of your journey will not be a repeat of what you have already experienced. It's a different environment, with new demands, more intense connections, and greater opportunities. And like all expansion, it requires internal structure. You cannot carry old patterns into a future that calls for expanded consciousness. Limiting beliefs, destructive habits, thoughts of scarcity, all of these need to be reviewed now. The question is, what in you is not yet ready for the greatness that is coming? This answer, however uncomfortable it may be, is the key to your preparation. Ascension is beautiful, but requires consistency. It's easy to wish you were blessed. It's difficult to bear the responsibility that comes with the blessing. Many people sabotage their own climb because they maintain attitudes that belong to past versions of themselves. And here's a blunt truth. If you don't adjust now, you may be pulled back later. In Christian tradition, the desert was the place where great leaders were forged. In Islam, Ramadan fasting is a period of deep spiritual preparation. In several indigenous cultures, the isolation of young people precedes recognition as an adult, i.e., preparation always precedes positioning. You are at this point, the exact moment between what was and what will be. What to change before the change arrives. If you really want to position yourself for what's coming, you need to start from within now. Here are some essential points to review. Mentality. Are you thinking like someone who wants to grow or like someone who fears losing? Fear is a silent saboteur. Words. What you say about yourself reflects whether you are ready. Stop putting yourself down. Routine. Does your current organization support the level of expansion you want? Practical preparation is essential. Relationships. Are you surrounded by people who strengthen your mission or who drag you into old cycles? Active spirituality. Are you connecting with your origin and what keeps you in balance? The spiritual is not accessory. It is the center. Going up without preparing the structure is like building a new floor without reinforcing the columns. The signs are happening now. Maybe you haven't noticed it yet, but small pieces of evidence have already started to emerge. People are moving away naturally. Old ideas no longer make sense. A feeling of urgency began to well up inside you. These are clear signs of transition. What once satisfied you now seems small. What used to make sense no longer completes you. This is not a crisis. It's called, you are being repositioned. But how you respond now will determine whether you rise or repeat yourself. Preparing your mind is the biggest investment you can make. You may not have control over when the change will happen, but you have complete control over how will introduce herself when she arrives. According to data published in 2021 by American Psychological Association, people who consciously work on their emotions during transition phases experience 45% less regret on important decisions than those who simply hope for the best. This means that your readiness, emotional and mental, is, at this moment, more important than any external plan. Don't wait to be ready. Be ready to receive. You are no longer being tested. Now, it is being evaluated to be released. The next step requires clarity, presence, and firmness. Greater opportunities come with greater expectations, but you were not chosen by chance. It was shaped for this moment. So before you look outside, ask yourself, am I really ready for what I asked for? If you feel this calling within you, subscribe to the channel and write "I am chosen" in the comments. Declare that you are ready to receive what is already in store for you. Your time has come. Now it's a decision, no more waiting. You already know what's going on. The movement around was no coincidence, and the silence that surrounded you was no abandonment. It was preparation. Now, everything that seemed stuck starts to spin. But be careful, the waiting time is over. The time for action has begun. From this moment on, what determines whether you move forward or stay is one thing: your response. Yes, someone with resources, vision, and power noticed you. But that someone is not responsible for your transformation, and you. What this person does is just the push. The step is yours. Everything I was telling you happened for this moment. The choices you made, even the ones that seemed small, built the way here. The days when you held on to faith even though you didn't see a way out. The difficult decisions you made when no one was around. All of this added strength. And now, the result is not just on the way. He has already started to arrive. You felt the cycle changing. Things around are organizing themselves differently. Old people left. The discomfort increased. All of these are clear signs that the old place no longer fits you. And when things get cramped, it's not you who's at fault. It's growth that demands new space. Now it's about implementing. Simple as that. No more planning just in your mind. The new level requires practice. You've already listened, you've reflected, you've noticed the signs. Now you need to align your attitudes. Here they are, 4 immediate actions. What you need to take today. Organize your physical environment. The place where you live needs to reflect the level you want to reach. Mess, accumulation, and disorder delay the process. Update your mindset. If you are still thinking like someone who is content with little, you will not sustain what is coming your way. Cut distractions. People who pull you into old cycles, conversations that don't add value, habits that make you go in circles. All of this needs to be cleaned up. Create structure. Establish a routine. Be clear about your goals. Unexpected success is only sustained by organized people. These steps are not symbolic, they are concrete, and each of them brings you closer to living, in a practical way, the reality that is already being activated behind the scenes. Your light is being detected. You are no longer invisible. The right connections have already started to approach. The stranger, that figure who has the tools to position you, has already located you. Maybe you haven't spoken to this person yet. Maybe he doesn't even know who he is, but it exists. And most importantly, she has already decided that you are valuable enough to invest in. Now the question is, are you going to behave like someone ready or continue acting like someone who still needs to prove something? Enough doubts. What you carry is necessary. Your position is urgent. What is coming requires preparation, but mainly decision. Don't sabot your new season with attitudes from old cycles. The main trap at this point in the journey is self-sabotage. You have waited so long for this moment that now that it has arrived, you may feel afraid to receive it. Don't fall for it. You're not taking anything you haven't earned. This door opened because you created a track record that supports this opportunity. It's not a favor. It's not charity. It's alignment. The universe does not deliver things to chance. He responds to silent preparation with extraordinary access. But remember, no one can walk through that door for you. It's already unlocked, but the movement of crossing it is still yours. Your next phase, don't wait anymore. This is the exact moment when people stop and choose, rise or stagnate. And the decision you make today won't just change your life. It will impact everything connected to your mission. You are here for a reason. The call was made, the signals were given, help arrived, and the time is no longer to ask yourself, is this for me? The time is to get up and act like someone who knows what they are carrying. Because now it's not about deserving anymore. It's about weather position. The opportunity has arrived, the structure is ready, the world is waiting. Now there's only one thing left, your answer. The awakening continues. If this video opened your eyes to truths you had never seen before, imagine what else you can discover. Subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content that will transform your life.